What's cracking, people? I'm Theo Kane, and in today's episode, I'm going to let you know how we got on at the recent UK Game Expo at the NEC in Birmingham. An event that, I'm not even going to lie, kind of wiped me out. I knew that it were going to be big, I knew that there were going to be a mad variety of stuff there, but it was way bigger than anything I expected, and I can't wait to tell you all about it. I'm going to let you know how we got on, some of the stuff that I brought back, and also just my overall thoughts on the experience. So if that sounds like a bit of you, then sit back, make sure you're comfy, and get yourself strapped in for a brand new episode of Slimehouse TV. Let's do this. So in today's video, I'm going to be showing you how we got on at the recent 2024 UK Game Expo at the NEC in Birmingham. A huge 3-day event that is by far the biggest show that I've ever covered on this channel. If you watch Slimehouse on the regular, you'll know that we come to the NEC multiple times throughout the year for the big vintage toy show. We also recently covered Salute down in London, which I was expecting to kind of have a similar vibe to this, and even though I'd never been here before, I felt like I was going to be in some sort of familiar territory, but it's safe to say that this show was very different to any of the other events that I've covered on this channel before, and I'm really looking forward to telling you all about it in today's episode. So as I just mentioned, this was my first time checking out the UK Game Expo, so I was obviously real eager to see what it was all about. I was also linking up with Bill Making Stuff and Ollie I Made This, and a few other people that I'd either not met in person yet or don't get to see as often as I would like to. Me and Bill were also staying over in Birmingham, doing the Saturday and the Sunday, so overall it was a weekend that I was really excited to get into and felt fully ready for. It's the sprue graveyard. Looks like somebody sprued up all over this thing. So this is quite cool. A gacha machine, but it's got little resin miniatures in. I like it.
Are you telling me or your audience?
I'm talking to my audience.
Okay. Hello, audience.
Yeah, I get the close.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Stay ready. What you got? A sweet, a dice. To be fair, that ain't a bad deal, that, mate. What guy did you get? Like a little, oh, a little elf warrior looking guy, vampire count looking, and a base. What do you want? Mint?
I just want this.
Yeah, he just wants that for respite. A little greenhouse. Now, I planned on filming this event like I do all of the events usually. Filming a bit of an intro in the car, giving a shout out to my driver, who in this case was my good friend Jen, and just doing a bit of vloggy style stuff, talking to the camera and that kind of thing as I get to the venue. But honestly, once we'd got inside and we saw just how busy it was and how hard it were going to be to actually move around and see stuff, it quickly became apparent that filming this event in my normal style wasn't going to be easy. So we've been here for quite a bit, to be fair. We've been here for a couple of hours, but we've not really seen that much. Once we'd got together, had a little walk round, there's just a lot to see here, and there's so many people in that main room that you kind of see a stand that looks interesting, but there's so many people in front of it, you're going to have to wrestle your way to the front. So I'm hoping that tomorrow is a day when we can really have a good look at the miniatures and see if there's anything that we want to bring home with us. So yeah, in terms of filming, day one was a little bit of a write-off. Not only because it was so busy and you couldn't really get to any of the stalls and film them properly, but like I said, because there was so much variation there, it was a little bit overwhelming. And also, I only wanted to film things that I think are relevant to Slimehouse and the people that watch it and what they want to see. I'm not going to be filming like Disney games and little kids games and all that kind of thing. So I basically used day one just to check out what was there, and then came back on day two with a much stronger battle plan on what I actually wanted to film and cover for you lot watching this video. Bent Legs also joined us on day two as well, which was cool. So we all went back on the Sunday with a much stronger game plan on what I actually wanted to cover, and it's safe to say that we had a much better day of filming than we did on day one. And we are back again for day two at the UK Game Expo here at the NEC in Birmingham. Didn't really get to film as much as I wanted to yesterday. Very hectic, as I mentioned on the camera, but hopefully wanting to get a little bit more today. Let's see how we get on. So one of the stalls that I really wanted to check out on the first day, but didn't get a chance to, again just because it was so swarmed, was Wayland Games. Now these guys always have a good selection of everything from independent stuff and more obscure titles to big names like Games Workshop, but for me personally it's their Japanese Gunpla and Bandai model kits that I was most interested in having a look at.
Old Kamen Rider and that full kit you've just snapped together like a Gunpla, and then you've got a Shin Kamen Rider. Is that your favourite?
Yeah, it's a favourite Power Ranger.
Speaking of Japanese Bandai kits as well, they also had the Perfect Grade Strike Freedom Gundam, an insane model kit recently showcased in an awesome video by our friend MS Paints over on his YouTube channel. But what made it even cooler is that they had the actual kit and diorama that Dave from MS Paints had made right there on display on the stand for everybody to check out, which was a real nice unexpected thing to see. I've watched that video a few times now on his channel and really enjoyed seeing it all come to life, so it was very awesome to be able to actually see it up close and in person there at the UK Game Expo. Something else that I wanted to look at as well was a miniature series that I've only been put onto recently, but the IP that they're attached to is something that I've loved most of my life. We made a couple of new friends on the Saturday courtesy of Bill's Patreon meetup, and one of those friends had bought a set of these figures so I got to see them properly, and after loving how cool they looked in person, I made it my mission on the Sunday to try and hunt some down.
Oh, that is dope actually. Look, you get Newt, you get Ripley, you got Marines.
I always love the Marines.
Yeah. Hoorah! Yeah, I'm never going to paint them, I'll just get them aliens.
They would look good on display.
They would, but I ain't got nowhere to display them and I'm never going to get around to doing them all. I'll just take them please, pal.
So look out for these in a future Slimehouse Studio video, because I've got a cool little idea about how I want to put them together, and I'm really looking forward to sharing that with you all soon. Now you might remember when we were at Salute a couple of weeks ago, I got really into buying the independent white metal miniatures that companies sell. I picked up quite a few, I was loving how cheap they were, and at that event there were so many different companies that did them, all their own independently made stuff, and when I got back on reflection I kinda wished that I'd grabbed more of them. So one of the things that I wanted to do at the UK Game Expo was try and find some more of these companies, but unfortunately there were just barely any there, at least from what I could see. Very much slim pickings in terms of the retro style independent metal minis that I like, lots of dope resin and plastic ones, but barely any metal. There was one company there though that I was very happy to see, with a big booth and a great selection, and again if you watched my Salute video you'll probably be pretty familiar with them because I was singing their praises then, and that's Crooked Dice Studios. So Crooked Dice are a company that make mostly metal old school style miniatures that feel and look very legit and retro, and specialise in creating figures inspired by classic cult movie characters, old TV shows and cartoons, from well-known action heroes to real obscure stuff.
They do all like Thundercats and Mortal Kombat and lot. If you keep looking you see some right good ones. The young ones, Horrid Housemates.
Father Ted.
They do everything, don't they, mate? No stone left unturned.
I picked a couple of these Crooked Dice figures up at Salute, inspired by Ash from Evil Dead and John Rambo, and was very happy with them, so when I saw that they had a stand here at the Game Expo, I was buzzing to add a couple more to my collection.
I quite wanted a Riggs and Murtaugh last time, so I reckon I'll get them. Look at that little The Thing head. Imagine like getting a few of those, a few like arcade machines. So you got Thunder Tank down there, look.
Something really cool that Bill told me as well that I didn't know is that all these figures are actually made to be used in their own game, which sounds like some sort of skirmish battle royal all set in a TV studio, and I've not read the rule set or anything like that. I've literally just seen the box cover that they had there on the desk, but I'll link their website down in the description below so that you can check it out if you want to find out a bit more, which I definitely do as well, so yeah, watch this space.
We've got Mad Max Humongous and his crew. We've got the gorillas from Planet of the Apes. Yeah, they do all Wicker Man villages, look.
If if you watch my channel on the regular, you'll know that something else that I've got a lot of involvement in is toys and toy production. And recently I got the opportunity to work for the first time with a company who wanted me to sculpt a character for them that would then go off and be actually 3D printed in full colour. If you've watched any of my videos on here before about toy making, you'll know that I usually sculpt everything and then print them out in one solid colour. I then prime them and paint them, but there's a new technology now that allows figures to be actually printed in complete colour. And although it's something that I'm still trying to get my head around, it was awesome to be able to see the booth of My Mini Factory at the Expo, who had not only brought along one of those full colour 3D printing machines with them, but also a bunch of miniatures that had all been printed in 3D colour on it. I'm always fascinated by new technology and new ways of doing stuff, especially ones that work alongside the tools that I use and the work that I do. And although this is a technology that's obviously currently in its infancy at the minute, seeing this kind of stuff and how it's made makes me really excited to think how we're going to be creating toys and miniatures and all that other cool stuff in the next 10-15 years. Speaking of colour as well, in terms of the more traditional ways of painting that I'm used to doing, it was also really cool to check out all the booths of the other hobby paint companies that were in attendance. Turbo Dork were there, a company whose paint I've used many times in the past and really enjoy using it. I also found out about a new paint that's coming out soon called Candy Core that looked awesome, and I'm really looking forward to trying that in the future when it's available. It was really cool to see Colourforge there, whose spray primers I use all the time, and to see all of their upcoming signature series on display. Shouts to Guy from Midwinter Minis, I can't wait to try that beaut new Ice Blue primer. I also had a good chat with another paint company that I want to speak about more in a future video, and while I was there, I also had to go and check out the Monument Hobbies booth, as I'd heard really good things about their paint range Pro Acryl. Something else that I always really enjoy doing as well, whether it's for wargaming miniatures or more action figure photography style stuff, is building sets and dioramas. And as you can imagine, this was also a place that had a ton of that on display as well. Not to mention I was spending the weekend with Bill Making Stuff, who's like a terrain and diorama making king. So it was really cool to be able to check out all that kind of stuff at the expo as well. Including this incredible modular terrain system by a company called Dwarven Forge, who make some incredible stuff. I had a great conversation with them about their products and how they're created, and they had by far one of my favourite displays of the whole expo.
Dungeon crawling. These are so good with the little lights.
Yeah, are you familiar with our product at all?
No?
So we're Dwarven Forge. We make modular gaming terrain. It's all hand sculpted and hand painted.
And, oh.
And it's made to be super durable while still being beautiful.
May I?
Yeah, please.
And what are the LEDs that are in there? Is it like all self-contained in that little tiny thing, or has it got a mechanism that ignites when you put that on?
Well, I mean, you can swap them out.
Yeah, so is the lighting mechanism in the resin? Right.
So it's not resin either, it's dwarvenite, just so...
It's what, sorry?
It's a proprietary blend, so it's called dwarvenite.
Dwarvenite,
That's what makes it
right.
really sturdy. But you can swap out the LEDs, and it's just in the wall with the
Oh,
watch
that's
battery.
mint.
And then you can like turn it on and off really easy. You don't
That's
have
amazing, I love it.
Yeah, it's great.
Do you manufacture yourself, or is it like a factory that you use or something to make
So
it?
we manufacture it with a factory,
Okay.
but I think that we are pretty much the only client they have.
Really?
So, yeah.
Showing us these LEDs, you just click them in, they just light up. I thought it'd be like handy to know how they're done, not for your dioramas and
Sell
things.
them separately, don't you?
No, because so the mechanism's inside that, and then you just pop that in. Look,
Yeah. And you can swap them too. We have so many different options.
it's dope, right?
Talking a little bit about dioramas as well, at Salute I mentioned that I picked up a John Rambo miniature from Crooked Dice, and at some point in the near future I want to create a little diorama with him that's like First Blood Part 2 Vietnam themed. Now I spoke about this idea to our friend Pez at Rubicon Models, a guy in a company that you will have no doubt heard me talk about a few times since Salute, and because they were also at the Game Expo, he asked me to drop by their booth so that he could fix me up with some suitable kits for it, and legend that he is, he hooked me up with some perfect pieces that are going to really make this diorama that I've got in mind something very special. So again, shouts to Rubicon, shouts to Pez, and watch this space. Now, as I mentioned, this is a show that literally has everything. Whether you want to play smaller, traditional, very simple game systems, or check out big title releases like Skyrim and Fallout, then you can. And although I do enjoy that big well-known IP stuff, I also really like checking out the work of the independent, smaller creators, building their own brands and making their own games and expansions. Like, for example, Bill bought an awesome art book from these guys called Loot the Room, who created various things, including an expansion for a popular role-playing game system called Morkborg. And I'll be honest, I didn't really know what a lot of it was because it's not my area of expertise, but what I do know is that I really liked the art style of it all and the branding and the colour schemes that they'd used. I also really liked the vibe of these guys' work as well, called Neon Rot, who not only had a bunch of dope artwork and stickers to accompany the game systems that they'd made, but they'd also released an official soundtrack on a cassette tape that you could listen to there on headphones, and it sounded very dope, so they're another company that I'm going to be looking into more now that I'm back. Again, I'll stick all of the information of these companies down in the description below, and also over on my Instagram as well, because I think they're definitely worth checking out if you're into this kind of thing.
So that's how we got on at the UK Game Expo at the NEC in Birmingham. And I suppose all that's left to do now is let you know my overall thoughts on the convention. To be fully transparent, I got a press pass for this event. I was invited. I didn't have to pay to get into it or anything like that. I definitely preferred Salute in terms of the selection of stalls. This one had way more stalls, but as I said, there were a lot that I weren't interested in personally. And if it was up to me, which obviously it isn't, I would have all the kiddie games in one part, I would have all the traditional gaming in another section, and have all the war gaming and that kind of stuff all in an area of its own, so that you're not walking past a bunch of stalls that you're not interested in. And I can see why they do mix it all up. It does make sense, but for me personally, I would have happily just checked out 30% of what was in that venue, because there was just a lot there that just didn't appeal to me. I'm not into kiddie games, I'm not into games that you play with little tokens and that kind of thing. I'm very much like a wargamer guy. I like dope miniatures and diorama sets and that kind of thing. Now, some people love tabletop gaming, RPGs, simple board games, Warhammer, all that. They love all of it and they live for it. And I can imagine if you're one of those people, then you would have the time of your life at this convention, and I can fully see why you'd want to go for all of the days that it's on. On the Saturday night, we went for a drink with Guy from Midwinter Minis and a bunch of other YouTubers, and when we were trying to find them, we walked through the Hilton, because that's also part of the expo, the Hilton Hotel. And I didn't film this because I didn't have my camera rolling at this point, but there was like room upon room of just hundreds of people playing little board games that to me looked like very simple little tic-tac-toe domino kind of board games. I didn't really see what they were playing. And these are people that had been playing for hours and hours and hours, just in rows of hundreds, like a sweatshop. So although I do love tabletop gaming and it's something that I'm into, it's not something that I live for like these people that love to play any kind of tabletop game. And like I said, there were rooms upon rooms full of people playing them for hours and hours and hours. So if that's you and you're into tabletop gaming like that, then I can imagine that the UK Game Expo to you is like your favourite event of the year. But taking away the fact that I went for a link up, because I went with people that I would have had the best time ever no matter what convention we went to. We could have gone to a Comic Con or anything and we'd have had the best time. If I were just going on my own, I definitely would just go for the Sunday. It was a lot more chilled out, and if I go next year and I don't go with Bill and that kind of thing, I think that we will just go for the Sunday. If we were looking at this event like it was a toy fair, the best way that I could get you to imagine it is that imagine if you went to a toy show and it not only had vintage toys and trains and cars and die-cast and teddies and plush toys and old school stuff like that, but it also had designer toys and vintage toys and then like independent made toys. It also had Funkos and NECAs and all the new toys that get released, and then it also had like kiddie toys and toys that kids might play in the garden and all that kind of thing, like literally everything toy related all in one place, which I suppose on paper sounds quite cool, like a whole celebration of toys overall, but chances are if you went to that event, you're probably going to walk around and there's going to be a high percentage of things there that you're not going to be that interested in. But with all that being said, I don't want it to sound like I didn't have a good time at this event, because I really, really did. And just because it was so different to all the other events that I've been to and it was nothing like I expected it to be, that doesn't mean that's a bad thing. That can only be a good thing, right? That like it's nothing like anything else that I go to. And apart from a few little gripes I had with like the layout of it and that kind of thing, overall this was an awesome convention. And it wasn't made for me. It was made for everybody else that loves wargaming. I just went to experience it and I definitely had a good time. It was awesome to meet up with my friends. It was awesome to meet new ones there. I also made some great connections and brought some really cool stuff back with me that I'm going to show in future videos and that kind of thing as well. So yeah man, UK Game Expo overall, really enjoyed it and we'll definitely be going again.
So that's all we've got time for in today's episode. If you did enjoy this video, then please don't forget to give it a like, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. If this is your first time joining us, then I'm Theo Kane, this is Slimehouse TV, you're very welcome. I drop videos every single week, so if you enjoyed today's episode, you're more than likely going to enjoy the other stuff that I upload as well. I do also have a Patreon if you want to help support missions like this, help me keep making Slimehouse bigger and better than ever, and help keep this YouTube channel going. I'll put the link to that down in the description. And as always, I just want to say a massive thank you to everybody that took time out of their day to watch my episode. With so much of the stuff that you could be watching on YouTube, it really does mean a lot that you come back here every single week and watch my videos, and I really hope to catch you in the next one. So until then, I'm Theo Kane, this is Slimehouse TV, and I'm gone. Pow!